Hello, everyone, and welcome to another chat on tarot deck of my choosing. As you can see already, this video is dedicated to Buffy, the Vampire Slayer tarot deck. And huge shout out to Brandon, who had commented on my VR to the Scooby Decks tag yesterday, saying that this deck was already at the Barnes & Noble. And so, here I am waiting on my pre-order, and thinking that it'll be another week or so. But after seeing that comment, I texted Matt and I was like, hey there. If you're not too tired after work and if you perchance have a Barnes & Noble nearby, you think you could do me a favor? And he was the bestest. He went and picked up a copy for me. So thank you, Brandon. Thank you to my Matt. And I spent all yesterday, like all last night, looking at the deck, reading through the entire guidebook. And I gotta say, not that I have many Insight Edition decks. The only other one I have is the Horror Tarot, but just from kind of what I've seen from other various flip-throughs of the different decks that they have, this seems by far the best one that Insight Editions has done. And also, they still managed to F it up. And we'll get into that. But first, I just want to give props to the fact that I, on the whole, like this deck. It's like nice packaging. You got the two-part box situation. One thing I really like about the Insight Edition decks is that their card stock is shuffleable. This one has a bow to it. And I don't know if that's a common thing for Insight Editions. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me, but I love that the cardstock is very flexible and yet seems sturdy enough, and I can easily shuffle and bridge. This kind of nice matte finish that isn't that sticky rose petal. I like this backing. I'm into this color scheme. Love me the kind of bluish purple going on. And even though this style of art isn't typically something that I gravitate toward, I have to say I am really digging it. I like it. It grew on me very quickly. I think that the artist, what's his name? What is his name? Carl James Mountford. Carl James Mountford did a fantastic job, down to the details. So really appreciative of that. Now, this isn't going to be a walkthrough. As you know, I don't really do a lot of walkthroughs. This video is just meant for me to chat with y'all. Really, the focus of this video is for me to bitch about the guidebook. Now, I'm not planning on going through whether I think the character choices were, appropriate for each of the cards. That is going to be reserved for a future 3 Girls, 1 Deck episode. We have already received a few requests that y'all would like an episode dedicated to the Buffy Tarot. So we are happy to oblige. Even though all 3 of us might not end up buying the deck, we have all seen the series. Heather and Sarah know it very well. I'm a newbie to it, but I've seen the episodes. So we are more than happy and able to talk about this deck. I overall really enjoy this deck. Can't say the same for the guidebook. I just wanted to kind of give out this PSA that you might not even want to bother with the guidebook, honestly. unless like I got a defective copy or something, and I might not be the only one, you know, if that's not the case, I might not be the only one who has like spoken to some of the issues that I've found. You know, maybe somebody else has on YouTube during a flip through or review I haven't gone on to see. But yeah, this really frustrated me, this guidebook, because as someone who is coming to Buffy as a newbie fan, I've just only recently finished the series. Like, my head is just exploding with all things Buffy, and I'm just so into it. And for me, someone like me, I am interested in the guidebook. I am interested in seeing the whys of the certain choices, especially for ones that I wasn't quite sure on, right? As you can see, I've got some examples here, and this isn't even all of it, but really my main gripe is that it seems like this guidebook just wasn't QC'd properly or edited properly, that there was a lot of oversight. Because with several cards, it seemed like what could have happened was that they had an original image in mind, and you know the description matched that original image. They then went and decided to replace that image with another, but then didn't end up revising the guidebook accordingly. And so, you know, and I could be wrong. Like, again, I do not claim to be a Buffy expert by any means, and so there might be something I'm missing in terms of like certain references. I don't know. But the guidebook was written by Casey Gill, and so not the huge Minerva Siegel. And this author has, I believe, written at least one comic book in the Buffyverse, and she knows the show. She knows her shit. And it's very evident. Like, she even writes in the kind of style and kind of tone of some of the characters, and like drops references to certain phrases that they use. And so I think that this isn't so much an issue of it being like the author's fault or the illustrator's fault in not knowing Buffy. It's the company's fault. It's the publisher's fault. Okay, so if you are, my PSA is essentially, if you are a Buffy stan, you know your episodes. This is essentially a fandom deck where you gotta know the series and you gotta know the characters, because there isn't too much in the way of like plot arc description or explanation. It's assumed knowledge that, you know, a Buffy fan who already knows the episodes is using this deck. And so, you know, in that context, I wouldn't even bother reading the guidebook if you don't want to be annoyed like I was. Like, there's no reason for it. I mean, and maybe I'm overreacting, but like, again, as a newbie to Buffy, you know, super excited, this really like annoyed me. And so I would just say, just don't bother with it, because just use your own knowledge of the show and of the tarot, and use the deck accordingly. I would say, you know, really it's the minors you should skip. The majors are fine. The courts are fine. They did their due diligence with that. It's several of the minors. And I haven't even marked all of them. This isn't even all of them that I question, but let me show you some examples. So first off, let's see here. Okay, so we have 3 of Stakes. And by the way, just to be clear, spoiler alert, I will be talking about certain details in the series. So if you don't want spoilers, if you want to be surprised by the deck altogether, you know, then you should not be watching this. Okay, 3 of Stakes. We have this description here. So this is This is evil vampire Willow from a different, an alternate universe, right? We see her in 2 episodes. We see her in The Wish, and we see her in Doppelgangland. Okay? But check out this guidebook description. The 3 of Stakes presents an opportunity to reflect on how things are going as you pursue your objectives. And well, let's just say you haven't gotten further than Ladies' Nightclub before your van broke down. But before you despair, like all minor arcana cards, this is just a temporary delay. You'll be back on the road before you know it. Reversed. Before a road trip, it's essential to make sure that your van is in good working order. Consider this a reminder to pause your plans, double check your supplies, and save up a little extra cash for repairs along the way. Future you will thank past you when the road gets rough and you find yourself cruising along. Why are we talking so much about a van? Okay, I mean, am I missing something from those 2 episodes? Like, basically, I'm seeing Vampire Willow, no van. I don't recall a van having any major importance in those episodes. And she's got her chain, which she uses to restrain her puppies, as she calls them. So I don't really, I'm not, it's like 2 different cards. It's like they had a different card, maybe showing Oz's van. Like I don't know. So that was really confusing to me. Next up, 5 of Stakes. So this is a reference to the episode A New Man. This is where Giles, through a spell, is turned into a demon. I loved that episode, by the way. Okay. Guidebook description. The 5 of Stakes finds you feeling like you've stumbled into a pack of teenagers turned hyenas. Snarling, growling, infighting, it's even worse than dodgeball. Your job is to avoid getting pulled into the fray. How can you stop and listen to what everyone is saying? How can you learn from differing opinions? This card encourages you to seek value in conflict, to uplift underrepresented voices and rise above the pack. And then in reverse, we have the same kind of, wild hyena analogy. So we're talking about, it seems like this description is talking about the episode, The Pack. And so it's kind of like, okay, am I looking at the same deck? Or did I just get a defective guidebook? All right, we have the 10 of Stakes. Sorry about the sunlight here. Okay. Buffy may have been chosen to stand alone against the vampires, demons, and forces of darkness, but the prophecy never said she had to like it. The 10 of Stakes finds you feeling like you're doing the most and asks you to pause, reflect on how much you've taken on, and remind yourself that it's temporary. Everything you're doing is aligned with your greater goals, and you are so close to reaching them. So, I think you can tell here, again, the author, she knows what she's talking about. And it's not like these descriptions in themselves are an issue. It's the fact that, this is not Buffy. This is Faith. This is Faith killing, what's his name? Kakistos. Which, by the way, the scar is on the wrong side of his face. But that's okay, Carl. We'll forgive that. It's like, I was just kind of gobsmacked that there would be these discrepancies. And just the more I went along with reading this guidebook, just the more frustrated I became. All right, 2 of Chalices. A beautiful silver cross marked the beginning of Buffy's partnership with Angel, a relationship that would launch them both into self-discovery, co-slaying, and true love. If this card has found its way into your reading, it means you are on the precipice of a similarly exciting union, romantic or not. You have found someone who gets you, who wants to have your back, and who is aligned with your goals. Lucky you. So this screams to me that the original design must have been Buffy and Angel for the 2 of Cups. instead of what they settled on, which is Buffy and Faith. I mean, do I really want to keep going with this? I mean, I'm not trying to get super salty and worked up. Let's just maybe do a few more. Let's move on to Pentacles, okay? Here we have the Three of Pentacles. Where would Buffy be without the Scoobies? The Three of Pentacles brings the energy of a team, your very own Slayerettes. This is a card of collaboration. Head to the library, hit the books, and start planning out your attack. The more you rely on the talents of your teammates, the stronger your trajectory will be. There's still plenty of work to do, but you're making great progress. So clearly this is not the Scooby Gang. This is the Nemesis, and which would have worked if the description matched this image. And I have a feeling what could have possibly happened is that because we see the Scooby Gang in the Three of Cups, maybe they decided they wanted to switch it up again so that we weren't seeing, the same characters. All right, Five of Pentacles. The lesson of the Five of Pentacles can be learned in 2 words. Cordelia Chase. Okay, I don't even have to read the rest, right? I mean, neither of these characters is Cordelia. These are 2 of the minions of Glorificus, Glory. So I just, we can stop there, right? Okay, one more, and then we'll call it a day. Here is Six of Pentacles. Hypothetically, let's say someone who wasn't very nice to you had a dress on layaway for a very special dance. Let's say that, despite working their formerly spoiled butt off for it, they still couldn't afford to take it home, and you happen to be in the position to help. Sound familiar? The Six of Pentacles is tugging at your heartstrings and your wallet. If you've been wondering if it's in your best interest to make a loan, share your surplus, or extend yourself for someone else, the answer is yes. Giving and receiving graciously are essential parts of true friendship. And I mean, that description's awesome. And we're talking about, that description in particular is talking about the episode where we find out, Cordelia's family has gone broke because of her father's tax evasion, I think. And so she's working at this boutique to try to pay for a dress. Xander finds out and pays for the dress for her. This image is, I'm thinking, Anyanka. And, she's granting the wishes of, the ladies who have been wronged and slighted by their lovers. And again, not anything necessarily wrong with this choice, but seriously, what incarnation? So, and I haven't even, I haven't even gone through all, and I won't, because you get my drift. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Yeah, okay, I feel better now. I feel better. Thank you for indulging me so that I could get that off my chest, because I think this deck is actually a good deck. And too bad about the guidebook. Inside editions, with all due respect, get your shit together, because this guidebook was just a car crash. It was Hot Mess Express. I like the deck, though. I like the deck. And, is it a usable deck? We shall see. I have started working with it. So I will get back to you on that. And actually, when I go on my trip this month, I'm probably going to take this with me because a friend that I'm going with is a huge Buffy fan. So I will probably give him some readings with this and see what he thinks about it. But yeah, I'm happy to have it. I'm happy to have this deck. It might be worth, given that the guidebook is problematic, and I mean, it's just, we're paying good money for a product. A publishing company needs to do their due diligence and QC that product, or have an editing team who knows the topic of the deck. Because it could very well be an instance where, you know, whichever editor was going through maybe just didn't know anything about Buffy. So yeah, I mean, you know, you're paying good money for this. If you have it on pre-order, then I think you're supposed to get at the price of $20. Matt told me, you know, that with tax, this cost like $30, so $10 more getting it from the bookstore. So like low-key annoyed and still happy to have it. Like I truly, this deck actually does make me quite happy. It's just the guidebook that pisses me off. And you know, I'm trying to save you from that annoyance. Now, if there are any of these examples that I may be misinterpreting, that I totally missed the mark on, and that there is a connection between the description and the image, then by all means, please do let me know. But as it was, like I was going through this guidebook and I'm like, seriously, am I looking at the same thing here? Am I going bonkers? Like what's going on? Hopefully, if this is indeed a huge mistake, which I feel it is, then Insight Editions will remedy it, because this really also does a disservice to both the author and the artist. I mean, there's two very talented people. It just seems like they probably were working through, you know, representatives of like the company. So maybe they weren't in direct communication with each other. And so wires got crossed, and again, oversight. But it's really clear that Gilly knows what she's talking about, and that Carl knows what he's talking. You know, he knows the series just based on the images and like the amount of detail that he's gone into with each card. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna shut up now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and until the next time, much love and take care.